Welcome to the Point of Everything podcast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode. Hey guys, this is the Point of Everything podcast, episode 9. In today's episode, we're going to talk about Columbus Day and Indigenous People Day. I'm joined here with Garrick.
Hello, happy Columbus Day.
And I guess we're going to start off. So, Garrick, do you want to start talking about this?
Okay, yeah. So, it's Monday, October 12th, second Monday of October, which means it's Christopher Columbus Day in the United States. But there's been some backlash to change it to Indigenous Peoples Day. And I just don't understand the point.
So why do you kind of disagree? So do you disagree with changing the day name? Do you disagree with that?
Well, I just disagree with everyone saying how bad Christopher Columbus was. I mean, he did do some bad things, but we all do bad things.
I mean, you gotta think about it.
We don't celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. for how terribly he treated women.
Yeah.
We celebrate him for the good things he's done.
Well, then, to add to that, Columbus, you can't put him up to today's standards from 500 years ago because killing people and enslaving people back then was acceptable, you know?
Well, it's just the warfare of that time.
Yeah.
War is ugly. War is terrible.
I mean, it's pretty brutal back then. I mean, they did a lot of crazy stuff back then that we don't do now.
Yeah. And I guess one big thing for me is just the acting like the Native American tribes were innocent in all this.
And it was a mixed bag, though. There were some good tribes, and then there's some tribes that are cannibals, and they were, did
Yeah.
some pretty inhuman things.
Well, but even before Columbus and all the colonizers came, they were warring with each other, and okay, they were warring with each other and everything, and did some bad things to one another. And I think it's more important to recognize that Christopher Columbus brought Western civilization to the New World. He discovered America. Now you can say that.
Well, actually,
He didn't discover America because he wasn't the first one that was there. He was the one that made it known to the people in Europe. Made America known to the people in Europe. He was the one who made it so that all the Europeans could come. And he made it possible to bring Western civilization and democracy and great things about Western culture we enjoy today.
I mean, it's it really was, I think, a pretty. I mean, sure, they did bad things in the long ago, but I mean, if you look at it now, he made America, the U.S. into, one of the best countries in the world. I mean, it's not like we're still Venezuela or something. Well, then again, he wasn't the first person to invent slavery. I mean, slavery was already used by plenty of other civilizations. beforehand. So a lot of people are saying, "Oh, he is the one who initially created slavery," and it was actually the blacks that were selling. Um, they were trading with the Europeans for slaves. I mean, it wasn't like they were forcefully capturing the blacks and taking them on board their crowded ships. There was the blacks were sort against the blacks at that point, the Africans.
I,
Um,
I think it was Irish who were the first slaves in America.
yeah,
If
they
you
weren't
want
even.
to go, if you want to go that deep into it, but it's a, it's a universal sin. It's a bad thing that happened, but everyone did it.
Yeah,
So, comes down to, would you rather focus on the one bad thing he did that everyone did, or would you rather focus on the the sole good thing he did that no one else did? You could
um,
say that Vikings or whatever discovered it first, but they didn't bring they didn't bring people from Europe over to the New World to teach natives about Western civilization. They didn't make it so that all the pioneers could come to the New World to seek a better life for religious freedom and everything.
he wasn't. His main idea wasn't to discover America in the first place. He was just trying to find a new trade route to India. I mean, he was, thought if he go this way, he can, um, find a trade route. His main idea wasn't to forcefully find America and to do some of the bad things he did.
Yeah, well, uh, even if he didn't mean to discover it or he didn't mean to bring great things to the world and create a help create this great nation in which we live, he still helped with that. Like
Yeah,
even if some rich millionaire or something, some inventor doesn't want to help people with their invention, they they just want money, that still helps people.
it's kind of like a mutual benefit,
Yeah.
but and also he wasn't destined to go out and find America and basically the whole area. He's just a trader and a sea captain. He wasn't anyone really special at the time until he discovered the new continents, and then everyone started coming over and doing whatever. But he also wasn't the only one to um, start civilization. There's also a lot of other Spaniards that came after his time, and they did whatever too. I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay. And I think it's I think the other thing I wanted to get into is the other atrocities after Christopher Columbus that the Americans did, like the Trail of Tears and breaking of promises over the years, the breaking of treaties.
So let's talk about the reservations. This is not really related to Columbus Day specifically, but we're going to include this topic as well as the Native American reservations. Um, if you ask me personally, I think it would be a better idea to not have the reservations and let the natives live within, the rest of the cultures and races. I think they would be better off doing that. So, what do you think, Garrick?
Just goes back to uh, all the all these programs that are supposed to help them, but help Native people, but it just ends up hurting them.
I mean, they end up abusing it, and it doesn't teach them really any important lessons to, um, they just figured they'd get, the assistance, like the Medicare, without having to actually work for it like all the other races, let's say, in American society. I, they do get more assistance and more things, and I personally think that that teaches someone to be lazy and to abuse the system rather than work like everyone else, so that everyone gets too.
So I'm part native, and
Well, yeah,
my
for
uh,
your viewers, no, we're both native. We're
he actually looks like it. I'm a weird white boy that really has anything. But the my my mom got to the point where she was getting raises and uh raises at work, but that ended up making it so that we couldn't have the government programs and everything. I guess it's welfare. It's the welfare in general, not the native welfare, but she was getting raises at work, but that made it so that we are getting less money because we can qualify for all the welfare and free lunch and everything, which made it worse for us when she was getting raises than if she wouldn't have gotten anything. And after my brother got cancer, he needs health insurance.
yeah.
And once we no longer qualify for the health insurance for Medicaid or whatever it is, Medicaid, Medicare, she has to get it through the school, through her work, and that's like I'll say 500 a month,
So do
something
you think you would be?
mandatory. But
Do you,
I guess the main thing we use the clinic for is our dental and everything, and because we can't afford that anymore. Well, we don't get that anymore from welfare and everything. But it kind of puts you in a position where you have to go without it, at least temporarily, so that you can get to the point where you can afford it again.
so
Or
you
you
would
have to
be?
figure something else out.
Um, do you think you'd be better off with or without the Medicare?
If we didn't have welfare or anything, I think it probably would have incentivized my dad to actually work because he was just on Social Security because he was bipolar
Yeah.
over. And if we were having two incomes, that would have made it a lot easier. Even if it was even if it was just like 20,000 a year or something, if he was just doing part time while we were at school, that would have been really helpful, and we wouldn't have to worry about. Uh, but the Social Security end up incentivizing him to where he doesn't think he can work without.
So so on the individual level, I think that some do need Medicare. Like your dad, we'll take your dad for example. He has conditions that make him unable to, function like everyone else and work. Do you think, as a whole population or maybe nation, um, do you think we can function without Medicare?
Oh, this just goes into the topic of welfare in general. But I don't know. I
That's a different
there
topic.
were there were times where my father probably could have worked, but
Yeah.
because he was on welfare, he just didn't want to.
Do you think the welfare sort of makes people less willing to work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Reservations and everything, it's welfare, but it's even worse because it's just based on your race.
Well, and it's funny because even like the stimulus checks, how they gave everyone, what was it, $1,200? They're giving those people, and it's like those people. That's how they always are. They don't work anyway, so it's like, oh, more money. And it's just more fuel for them for to have closures because they know the government will still give them money, and that's not even from the government over there. That's from the government from like the U.S. So I don't know. I think it just makes it a worse situation because then you get less people willing to work for what they want. Because they know that if they because of their race they can get stuff for free.
Yeah, and it's in a way it's just dehumanizing.
Yeah,
Like when you're on your reservation, you don't even get to own your home. You're
yeah,
not you're not allowed to mortgage against it so that you can actually get some money that you can use right now and invest and actually get back on your feet. You it makes it so you can't really get anywhere.
yeah. Because you're always kind of stuck on that whole program of not owning your own private things.
Yeah. And well, if we just look where um I want to say there's been a bunch of examples where the tribes that weren't recognized are the most wealthy because they they weren't put on a reservation. They weren't taught to just live on welfare their whole life.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I think it'd just be better because people would be actually they would have to work to function like the rest of society. They wouldn't get those extra assistance like just because of their race.
Yeah. Oh, you're native. You can't possibly afford a house. Oh, you're native. You obviously need a tutor.
Yeah,
Oh, you're native. You need an extra $400 just to go to school.
that's true.
And
Because they always send us like tutor things, but the white kids don't get it. Everyone else doesn't get it. It's kind of like the thing you're talking about, dehumanizing. They kind of assume they're already not gonna, be. They don't need the extra assistance.
and they have grants for the 5Ks on reservation.
Yeah.
Is that not fat shaming? I mean, I get that they're trying to help, but
But it's kind of to the point where they already assume that you need help when some people don't need it.
yeah, and then it just ends up wasting money.
Yeah.
I think welfare would be best if it was just by charity, and people would have more money to use more efficiently in their charity, like if they had lower taxes. So if
Yeah.
we cut back on all the spending, if we gut all the entitlement spending, and we give people more money back in their pockets than they can afford to help people who they know are going through a rough time. And that makes the person that they're giving the money to, they know the person that got the money knows that it's coming from an actual person and
Yeah.
not from some alphabet agency that doesn't doesn't care about ever seeing the money back.
Yeah.
And having someone believe in you that you can actually give it back, and having someone that can check in on you and who you feel a connection with, that you don't want to waste their money. Like, for example, uh, for at the school right now, we're getting free lunches and bags for lunch because we can't have lunch there for whatever reason. But they have, they're just giving them out to everyone, and not everyone wants them. Not everyone's going to use any of it. Like my brother grabs one and he just eats one or two things that he wants and just throws it away.
It's kind of like a waste, you know?
Exactly. It's almost like if people didn't take your money, as much of your money, then you could know how to spend it more efficiently.
That makes sense, right?
Like the COVID COVID relief. Giving $1,200 back to us is a good start, but when you spend $6 trillion in the total package and we only see 1,200 of it, well, where's the rest of it going? To all your business bailouts. I
Yeah.
did the calculations, and for the amount of money we spent on all of the COVID stimulus and everything, we could have given everyone $18,000
And
in
what?
cash,
And just because? Or
just because. And that $18,000 would probably do a lot more good than all the bailouts to all these big companies. It goes
so
like,
you're against the small business sector?
well, if you're a small business owner and you got $18,000, or your customers
It
got,
was 1800.
so instead of all of us in each family getting $18,000, each person in each family, the entire family got 1,200 plus maybe another 1,500 if you have three kids. I guess another adult would be another 1,200. So, but you're getting 1,200 to $500 per person instead of $18,000 per person.
So where are you getting? Okay, so you're
So
saying you wouldn't
my
get 18,000 if the taxes weren't so high?
well, that's what we could have done for everyone instead of what we did with the $6 trillion stimulus package.
So you're saying if we just lower taxes, everyone would still have money?
That's my main problem with welfare, is that the amount of money it costs, it's a lot less efficient than it would be if we were able to just do charity from people you know. Like if you don't have to pay taxes anymore, and you know someone who's gone through a rough time, you can actually give them money so that they
That's a
can
good
get back on
idea,
their feet.
Eric. So it's basically like private socialism.
Exactly.
That's a good idea, bro.
It's helping people without being forced to help people. And to it allows you to know who's actually giving you the money, helps you to know who's helping you so that you feel a responsibility to actually use it efficiently.
You see that? You hear that, Biden? Listen,
So if everyone has more money, then we can give more money to people who actually need it. And so that we in our individual lives can actually give money to people.
it's not actually just giving money to the whole, like to the people as a whole. It's just to specific people.
And we can be the ones who decide who actually needs it.
Yeah.
Like, this is how they should have done, like, stimulus, COVID stimulus. You give everyone, like, say $5,000. We save a bunch of money. Or $10,000. Give everyone $10,000. Make it so it's only a $3 trillion stimulus package. Or if you want, you can just give them the whole $18,000. Give every person in the United States $8,000. It's probably better just to do 5,000. Just pick the amount of money you want. You give that money to each household. That if the person needs it, they can keep it. If the person knows, but if you know someone else who actually needs it, you give that to them. That way you can actually.
Well, actually, hold up, hold up. There are things like assistance programs that if you're making over this amount of income, you cannot apply for it.
Yeah, so you get rid of that. Give that money to everyone, and if they don't need it, they pass it, they send the check to someone who actually needs it, who they know actually needs it. Because all of these variables that government couldn't know, you can know because you actually know the people who need it. Thank you all for staying
So
around.
wait. Thank you guys. We kind of got off track there. I know it wasn't just about Columbus. It was a bunch of other shenanigans. Um, so be sure to look at our YouTube channel, the Point of Everything Podcast on YouTube. Just search it up, and then it'll come up with our logo, and you can see all our latest episodes on YouTube as well. So thank you, Eric, for joining on this episode. And we'll see you guys later. So stay tuned for more content.
That's all for today. Be sure to check our YouTube channel, the Point of Everything Podcast. It's our YouTube channel. And be sure to stay tuned for more content. Thanks for listening.